The story of James VI of Scotland is an interesting one. Interesting one because he was known as the wisest fool in Christendom. What makes a wise fool? A fool certainly because he used to enjoy spending his time in the cut open belly of a stag, bathing his feet because he thought it would make him feel better. Kind of a little bit more adventurous than an aspirin. He liked to play with the codpiece of his favourite. Many times his favourite was a man, the Duke of Buckingham or Robert Carr. In front of ambassadors, it's like the ambassador of France was the one who pointed it out. He was also a fool because he was very frightened of witches and the occult. Lots of people were at the time, but he managed to write a book about it, which has been passed down to us. Wise because he was born into minority rule in Scotland. So he was king when he was 9 months old. From that minority rule, he managed to overcome a lot of problems with the nobles who were killing one another and trying to capture him, overthrow him, do all this kind of stuff. And he managed to rule not only Scotland, but also take over the Kingdom of England. Something that most aristocrats at the time were looking to do, increase the number of people who they ruled over, or peoples that were managed to kneel in front of them. And James managed to do that in a very big way. Where did he start, this Scotsman from a difficult background? Well, he was 9 months old when his mother was captured, escaped and then captured again and then imprisoned eventually by his Queen Elizabeth, his mother's cousin, who would become a woman who would dominate him, and he would manage to get the throne off her because that's what he was looking to do. And she was apparently no fool. His mother's whole life was one filled with drama, and she managed to be very brave in the face of a lot of drama. The Earl of Ruthven pointed a pistol at her belly with James in it and said, "Shut it, woman," and or words to that effect. And her response was, "What is in my belly shall avenge me." True enough, James did actually avenge her, but not in the classic way, like brandishing a sword, riding a white horse. He managed to encourage everybody to think that the Ruthven's descendants had captured him, and then he was able to execute them. Pretty sneaky, really. He was an interesting character because he was, of course, a man who was famed for being a homosexual king, but he had his wife had 9 pregnancies, or maybe even more pregnancies, but 9 children. Not all of them survived in those days, and he was a man who was known as a fool, but was an intellectual giant to the extent that he helped to translate his work and encouraging other people to translate the James VI Bible, which we know as today. So James the Sixth of Scotland, first of Great Britain, started an empire, the British Empire. Planted colonies in North America, which still bear his name, and towns bear his name. He also planted colonies in Ireland and Protestant colonies in a Catholic Ireland that, well, the heritage of that difficult heritage is still with us. It was a difficult time, it was a difficult time in terms of religious wars. Scotland was being taken over by Calvinists not long before his birth. Those Calvinists educated people and educated the poor for the first time, because it used to be only the rich were able to read and count. And now these Calvinists were teaching ordinary people to read so that they could read the Bible. The legacy of that is, of course, the Scottish Enlightenment that led to the invention of the steam engine and other such things. So he's an interesting man, not boring, but certainly not somebody that you can manage to make a great play about or say these are the noble things that he did, because the things that he did contrasted greatly, I think a story that's really interesting about him and that kind of sums him up is he comes down to England, he's ruling, he's succeeding, and the English courts say, you know, in Scotland maybe you didn't have to show yourself as much to the people, but here in England the English like to see their king, you know. And he said, well, I'll show them my arse, you know. Aye. There you go. Catch you later.